Hey guys, it's Courtney here from Rose Bloom, where we intentionally design our life and business with the cosmos. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about the Scorpio New Moon, which is happening on the night of October 14th, and it's going to be happening at 23 degrees of Scorpio. So, as always, I highly recommend pulling up your own birth chart and locating where 23 degrees of Scorpio is. For example, I know that I have Pluto at 23 degrees of Scorpio, so this moon is going to be exactly conjunct my natal Pluto, which is going to affect or change the way that this new moon changes me or affects me. So it's really helpful to know that. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what we can expect from this new moon. First of all, I just wanted to say that this new moon is conjunct an asteroid called Juno. And Juno is a marriage asteroid, but it really represents our devotion to something. And devotion, I guess, past the point of sanity almost. Like you're so devoted to it that it doesn't necessarily matter if it's hurting you or helping you, you're in it. And so I feel like this energy already with Scorpio, which is a very ambitious sign, combined with Juno, is telling us to give ourselves fully over to our ambitions or our dreams or our goals. So, whatever it is in your life that you have been wanting to make progress with and haven't necessarily made that progress lately, this is your chance. Mars is just now moving direct, and the day after it moves direct, we have this new moon coming in and saying, this is a time to plant the seed of intention of the actions that you want to take to move forward to strive towards your goals. This new moon is going to be very, very positive. And just make sure that you stay tuned to your rising sign. And you can always find the links in the description. But I'll give you guys what that's going to look like specifically for you, and then of course the overall energy. So as I was mentioning, this new moon is looking really, really positive, which is something that I feel like we have needed for a long time. Scorpio is inherently a more challenging sign. It requires more out of us. And so there are going to be some elements there where we're going to have to move through shadows and really believe in ourselves in order for that ambition to get us somewhere. So inherently that's kind of built into Scorpio. However, it's being really positively supported through the different angles that it's making to planets. First of all, it's making a sextile to Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and the asteroid Pallas Athena. So all of these are really saying that it's going to be a wonderful time to start new projects, for new opportunities to start flowing. Whenever there is a sextile to Jupiter, is basically saying that all the benevolent energy of Jupiter is coming to lift you up and support you. On top of that, not only is it a good time to make connections, make opportunities happen, for changes to occur, it's also going to be supported by a strong work ethic with a sextile to Saturn, saying that if you put in the work, you will get something out of it and it will be rewarding for you. And then on top of that, with Pluto, with a sextile to Pluto, you're going to have more inner reserves. You're going to have that inner fire and passion in order to make these things like happen. And it's really beautiful to have the support from Pluto, especially with a new moon in Scorpio, because Pluto is the ruling planet of Scorpio. So they have very similar energies. So they are working in harmony together, basically saying that you can absolutely achieve whatever your ambition desires if you just put in the time and the effort. And again, that's going to require you to undergo some deep inner transformation in order for that to occur, which means it's not going to necessarily be handed to us or be easy, but it's possible. And it's like this first seed of light that we're starting to receive after so many challenging things happening, after so many retrogrades. It's like finally that go ahead. On top of that, Jupiter is conjunct Pluto, or that just happened recently. So essentially what that means is that this is a strong manifestation energy. It can also sort of multiply the negative things in our life, and I've mentioned this time and time again. So it's going to be really important for you to focus your thoughts on positive things at this time. So direct your energy into things where it's actually going to bear fruit for you, where it's actually going to bring things into your life, instead of focusing on the things that are out of your control or the things that are negative that are happening in this world. And then it's making a sextile to Pallas Athena, which I think is really interesting, that there are two key feminine asteroids playing a role here. Juno, which is showing us to invest ourselves into what we're doing, mind, body, and soul. And then Pallas Athena is coming in here to support, saying that there is this inner warrior within us that can overcome all the obstacles. And we are being supported to show that inner warrior and to use that within our work. So if you feel like you're coming up against obstacles, you can pull on that Pallas Athena energy to then support you and help you throughout this process. On top of this, it's making a trine to Neptune. So I do feel like there is a deeper spiritual backing behind what we're doing. The universe is giving us the green light, the go ahead, saying, we support you. We want you to be working on this right now. And so this trine is a really beautiful thing. At the same time, sometimes trines to Neptune can make us feel like a little bit lazier, but I feel like with all the other energy, it's more of a spiritual aspect rather than, an aspect of laziness. So I would say take the time to meditate, take the time to ground yourself and ensure that the action that you are moving forward with is something that feels spiritually aligned, because I don't think you will actually be able to last throughout all the challenges unless you are spiritually aligned with that path. So it has to have like a deeper, more purposeful why for you in order for this to really bear fruit 6 months from now when we have the full moon in Scorpio. So those are the aspects that are happening specifically to the Scorpio moon. And now I'm just going to talk about what else is going on in the sky that is not interacting necessarily with the moon. So we have a tense angle, a square between Venus and Jupiter, Venus and Saturn, Venus and Pluto, and Venus and Pallas Athena. So basically all that positive energy that was just supporting us, it's still making a tense angle with Venus. And what that means is that the area around money and relationships can feel quite tense at this time. There might still be some unresolved issues, some things that need to have tension in order for you to take action to resolve them. On top of that, what I really think about with Venus is our perspective about the beauty in life and feeling really optimistic, feeling really loved, feeling really supported. And while I do think that this moon is supporting us, I also think that we won't necessarily feel like this light and fluffy feeling around this this new moon. And I think that's a given, knowing what's going on in the world around us at this time. So that also could be the possibility coming in with this square to Venus, is that yes, we're making action. Yes, we are taking action. Yes, we are making progress, but it's not necessarily going to feel as light and easy as we want it to already. The other aspect of this, if we take it kind of bit by bit and look at each square, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend because you want to look at the whole picture, but some of these keywords can kind of fit together to create a whole picture. So I'm going to break it down for you anyway. So when we have a Venus squared to Jupiter, this can often represent, again, like this like laziness, because Venus is us enjoying things in our life, and so is Jupiter. And so when these are making a conversation with each other, we don't necessarily always have like the stamina to desire hard work to make things happen. So that's a possibility that we might have to overcome. We've had this like months of stagnation with Mars retrograde that we might have to like kick things into high gear, but we've already kind of developed this habit of taking things a little bit easier or doing things a little bit slower and things not progressing. So that shift into a different gear might jolt us a little bit, and this square might be challenging us in that way to make that shift or make that progress. Venus making a square to Saturn can make us feel less harmonious within our relationships. So it can make us feel disheartened about the people in our lives. It can make us feel lonely or like we are further distanced from those that we love. And I think that makes a lot of sense given what's happening with the election. I think a lot of people are celebrating and a lot of people are saddened by that. And so there is this discord that is happening already. So that Venus square Saturn makes a lot of sense. However, this energy obviously will be moving quickly past. It's not going to be hanging out there forever. And then Venus square Pluto, this can bring some toxicity coming up through relationships. And I feel like this is going to be more so in global relationships, like in politics, how people are fighting back. There can be manipulation, there can be scandals, and that is really where like the Venus square Pluto, I think, will come into play. So I think as a global or as a collective, community, we will experience these energies in that type of way, where there's going to be still tenseness going on in relationships with people, still manipulation and power issues related to economics and related to politics. Those things have always been existing, but I think they will be more so at the forefront during this new moon as well. But still, besides all that, we're still going to be making personal progress and even, collective progress towards being more evolved and towards going after our dreams. So the last point that I want to talk about before I get into each of the signs is Mercury is making a quincunx to Chiron and is opposing Uranus. So Mercury has been opposing Uranus for a while now. And whenever it's opposing Uranus, it's giving us surprising news or brand new ideas, breakthroughs. It's like the genius strike. But again, it can also be surprising news, unexpected things, or I guess like a way of viewing things or new insights that come in that kind of jolt you. And because it's making such a harsh angle to Chiron, there's this news or this insight is coming in order to help us heal. But I think instead of helping us heal, it's going to feel quite painful. So maybe this is something that will have to come to a resolution at a later point in time. But I feel like right now, whatever news starts to come in around this new moon is not going to be, is going to be painful for some people, if not all people. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure what's going to come to fruition, but there can be choice words with people that you love, or there could be news that comes in regards to politics or the environment or the economy. I feel like something is going to be happening at that time that's going to feel quite painful or uncomfortable. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about where that might fall in your own personal chart. Okay, Capricorn Rising. This new moon is happening in your 11th house. And the 11th house is typically related to things like your community, like service work for other people, your friendships, and your goals and ambitions. And it's making a sextile to Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn moving through your first house. So I feel like what this is saying for you is that you guys are going to have a new beginning in the areas of your goals, and specifically in the way that your goals can help progress the world. Because you guys have actually been doing the deepest internal shifts, you and Gemini risings, as you guys have had Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto moving through your first house of identity throughout this whole year. And it's about to make a shift in 2021 and move into Aquarius. But what happens is whenever a sign has been challenged like this for so long, and challenged more than the other zodiac signs, what they do is they become the beacon of hope or the leaders for that next phase. So when the planets finally move out of your house and into someone else's, what happens is that you guys have already laid that foundation. You have done the deepest work, the hardest work out of all of us. And because of that, you have all the tools equipped within you to then lead us into the future, because you're already very well aware of what this energy feels like. You already know how to navigate this. And you've had these internal shifts that allow you to make the changes that our society needs. So I feel like this new moon happening in the 11th house is not only giving you insights about the goals and ambitions for your life coming in the next 6 months, but also how it's going to bring us into the age of Aquarius, because the new moon is happening in the 11th house, which is actually ruled by Aquarius. And we're about to step into that when Saturn moves there in 2021, early next year. So it's really exciting to see, because I feel like, again, you guys are going to be those leaders, but through your goals, through your work, because that's truly what Capricorn does. They live out their purpose, and their purpose ultimately serves the world. So I feel like this is a really exciting new moon for you guys, especially because it's making that beautiful sextile to all these planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, moving through your first house. It's saying that all of this identity shifts and these leadership abilities are coming through to now support this change, to support this birthing process of your goals to help move the world forward. It's also making a trine to Neptune in your third house. So I think that a trine to Neptune is, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, a very supportive spiritual energy. And having it in your third house is really interesting because the third house is our intellect. It's our communication of that intellect. It's our thought process. It's our conscious mind. So having Neptune in here, I feel like can oftentimes bring less clarity. But really, I feel like for you, what it's doing is actually connecting you to your deeper spiritual why for pursuing these things. It's giving you almost like a more collective understanding of how this is going to energetically impact the world over these next 6 months. So I think that this is really beautiful because it's not only giving you that kind of, ethereal spiritual support, but it's giving it to you through a more concrete method of your conscious mind, your thoughts. So it might not always feel like super spiritual, but I feel like that is how spirit is connecting to you and speaking to you at this time, is through your thoughts, through your ideas, and the way that you are communicating those ideas. So this is basically calling you, or this is basically telling you that you're really supported through your thoughts at this time. So I think it's a really great time to journal because you're going to start to get insights about these goals and these dreams through spirit. That's what I'm feeling through this. Besides what's happening to the moon, there's also some general energies going on. And for you, guys are experiencing Venus in Libra in the 10th house, which is amazing. This is awesome. Whenever you have Venus moving through the important angles, one of them being the 10th house, you start to get blessings in your career, in that area of your life. However, this is making a square to Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn moving through your first. So it's almost like this time is asking you to make a shift in your career path or your identity because something is still a little bit misaligned here. Something still needs a little bit of changing, a little bit of pivoting before you reach that age of Aquarius in 2021 and are able to create this change that we need in the world. It's like you're still not quite on the career path right now that you need to be in order to bring about that change. It could also be a change within you, so it doesn't necessarily have to be just your career, it could be within you. But I also feel like you guys have been doing so many changes to yourself this past year that it's likely going to be more so in your career rather than in you. So that's just something to keep in mind. So that could also be something for you to journal about because I do feel like you're supported spiritually through your intellect right now and your expression. And as you journal, I think the ideas will start to come in about what slight changes do I need to make in order for this to feel truly aligned, to feel truly supportive to my community. Because I think there could be an element there that you've been working so hard in your career, but now it's asking you to pull in more of the community aspect of things, like really thinking about other people in your career, especially because Venus is in Libra. So just consider that when you do journaling. You guys also have Mercury moving through your 11th house, and this is making an opposition to Uranus in the 5th house. So whatever new dreams or goals are coming up for you, you guys are going to have so many creative ideas coming through that are going to show you how you can bring that to life, which is amazing. However, this is making a quincunx to Chiron in the 4th house. So it might so even though you have these new supportive ideas, it might bring in some discomfort in your home or family life. You might have questions about, like how you're going to set up your day, or how you are going to have the money to do this, or where you're going to have the time, and if that's going to pull time away from your family. There's going to be some element that is going to feel slightly uncomfortable with Chiron in the 4th house. Some element around family, stability, money, your home. Some element there that's not fully feeling like light and airy and breezy. Okay, so that's pretty much what's going on for this new moon. It is a very positive new moon. I know I mentioned a few negative things, but overall, this new moon is going to bring you so many blessings, so many ideas. And if this resonated, please comment below. And thank you guys so much. Bye.